What is going on, guys? Hey, I wanted to come back to you. I wanted to bring a video clip with Patrick Bet-David and Men Kelly. And they're talking about how we don't need to accept everything. Not everything we need to accept. Some things we need to say no to. We don't want certain things in our lives. Like right now, man, we are accepting that men can be women, that women can be men, that men should play women's sports. You know, that grown men should be able to dance in women's lingerie in front of kids. Man, again, we are going down the wrong road. And we don't need to accept everything. We don't. But hey, guys, if you would, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Thanks.
Now we turn to another YouTube star, and that is PBD. Patrick Bet-David is founder and CEO of Valuetainment and host of the PBD podcast. And he joins us to talk the latest on Trump, DeSantis, Tucker, and much, much more. Pat, welcome back to the show.
How are you?
I'm great. Would you be caught dead in the Little Nas cat outfit? Did you see the little, it's like it's squeezing him up the bottom and it's squeezing him down in the front. And there's really, I mean, gay is one thing, not one hint of you being a man left is another.
What's wild is how they're using him to market him. You know, he gets all the eyeballs and God forbid somebody else stands out there and says, hey, boys, be a man. Hey, boys, stand up for yourself. Hey, go out there and defend yourself. Hey, be protective of women. Take care of the folks around you. You know, go out there and make some money. Go out there and do something for yourself. If we give a message that is very much of a pro-man message, God forbid you say something like that. But Little Nas X, hey, put him all over the place. You know what he's wearing? Oh, this guy's a superstar. He's a hero. And unfortunately, it's confusing a lot of different people. But for me to wear something like that, I don't even think I would wear something like that privately for my wife.
No, and nor would she want you to. I think I speak on her behalf.
She would not want me to. I've seen Borat. It's not a good look.
No, I will state for the record, we've been watching in the morning with my kids, because I follow him on Insta, videos of Jocko Willink, you know, who is like the Navy SEAL to end all Navy SEALs.
Oh, yeah.
And this morning we watched a video. It was Jocko discussing with Leif Babin, who married my friend Jenna Lee from Fox Business, BUD/S training, and how the SEAL team is like so much more than BUD/S training. Yes, it's difficult, but it's like you carried some logs and water, the way they described it. Like it doesn't compare at all to combat and war. And like that is who I want, especially my boys, listening to and looking at somebody like a man of service, a man of honor, a man who in some of his other messages says, whatever it is, it's your fault. You take responsibility, not somebody else. You. That's his whole thing. Extreme accountability. Not these ridiculous people, Pat. I can't.
You know, guys, we have gone to a place where men are being told to be dressed like women, dressed like, sexualized strippers. I mean, not regular women, but dressed like strippers. I get that's okay. That's the way it should be. And again, we're not championing actual men. We're not saying it's okay to be an actual man. It's not okay to be, again, a macho guy. And when I mean macho, I don't mean, again, bullyish and that kind of stuff, man, because that's not being a man. If you're putting other people down, if you're stepping all over people. And man, I've understood, I've done that. I did that when I was younger. Again, but we're not talking about that. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about standing up and being a man, being yourself, and being okay with being masculine. Taking care of things, taking care of yourself, taking care of your family, taking care of your kids. Again, we don't champion that. Right now, we teach everyone that being a victim is okay. Again, black people are victims of white people. Gay people are victims of straight people. Women are victims of men. We're teaching everyone to be victims, that everyone else is to blame. And we're not teaching people to be accountable for themselves. It's really what the issue is. And we're celebrating perversion. And we're wondering what is going on, why the world, why the country is turning out the way it is.
Why Jocko is another super necessary voice. And what is happening is, if you ask me what the biggest leak is, the challenge we're having with parents and kids is whoever you and I edify as the hero, the kids want to be. Whatever we edify, the kids want to be. So if you edify a man like Jocko and your son is watching you and saying, hey, son, watch this man Jocko. That's what you call a man. Your son's going to be like, my mom is edifying Jocko. I want to be like Jocko when I grow up. I want to be like Rogan when I grow up. I want to be like this man when I grow up, right? These guys are showing. There's a guy named Petros, good friend. He's an entrepreneur. He's doing things where father and sons are coming, learning about how to become men. There's a bonding thing that's going on with the father and son. They're doing push-ups. They're training. They're helping each other out. They're going out there doing all these exercises. There's a lot of good opportunities out there. Recently we did a video on why the number one earners, immigrants in America, are Indian Americans, not Native Americans, Indian like from India, Americans. Yeah. They make more money on average in America than any other ethnicity in America, including whites. They make on average $120,000 per year. Number two, just so you know, is at $95,000, and whites were at $65,000. So then you said, this is kind of interesting. Let's take a look at this, because they're only 1% of the U.S. population, but 8% of all the startups, you know, when they're going to technology and all this stuff, there's all these success stories of how they invest their kids into STEM, all these things that they're doing. So then I went on this one website to see what's so special about Indian parenting that's different than others. So you go to this website. It's called India Parenting. They have these 10 points there. And one of the points was how they edify whatever behavior they want. So you over-edify. You edify and say, see what Johnny did? Great job, Johnny. See what that guy's doing? Great job. That's what you call a leader. That's what you call this. That's what you call that. Versus American parents are like, well, it's okay if they feel that way. Well, it's okay if you feel this way. Well, it's okay if you feel that way. Nope, that's a leader. That's a man. That's this. They're edifying them, right? But one of the points also out of the 10, Megan, which was kind of interesting, is they also judge. They're not afraid to judge bad behavior, and said they're very judgmental of bad behavior. Interesting.
Why don't we judge bad behavior? Man, that's not the kind of behavior, you want to see in yourself, or you want to see in your kids, or you want to see, again, we need to say, hey, that's wrong. Man, again, don't overemphasize your feelings. Don't take yourself so serious. Don't emphasize your feelings. Again, I understand the sad. I understand you wanted that, but you get that. I understand even, again, man, if someone dies, it was sad. But guess what? You gotta stand up. You gotta move on. You gotta pull your boots back up. You have to. So the thing is, man, we have to be willing to, judge things. Call out bad behavior. Call out behavior we don't want to see. And again, man, you're not doing the wrong thing by telling your child, man, that's, you understand that you feel that way. But it's not true. It's not true. Just because, man, again, if you teach kids that, that you get upset, you throw a fit if something happens. If some other kid down the street, looks at him the wrong way or sticks out their tongue or whatever. Man, again, thing is, you don't want to overemphasize that. That is not what you want to get too upset about. Again, man, because they're just somebody else. Don't pay attention so much to that. Pay attention to yourself.
Typically, when we hear the word judge, we don't think about it in a positive way. Say, no, Indian parents, they edify great behavior and they judge bad behavior. Unfortunately, the current society in America today, we are a little bit too accepting of every single behavior. And these kids are growing up saying, if mom's not judging that, if mom's not edifying that, I guess I'm just going to choose to be the little Nas X. I'm going to look up to this guy, Sam Smith. I'm going to go look up this guy. So I think we have a hero-making machine problem in America, and parents need to paint a better picture of what a hero is for their kids.
So well said. I agree with every word you said. It's. I think in part, I'm not saying, because I know I have a dear friend who's a conservative. He's a lawyer, and he has a a daughter who's struggling with the gender identity stuff. So I'm not saying it never happens to conservatives, but I do think that there's a reason why this whole trans explosion is happening in these more leftist cities more than anywhere else, and why you have people like the Disney executive who's like, my one child is polyamorous and my other child is trans and my other child is a furry, like whatever. Like it's no accident that that's happening, because like that's not going to happen in my family. And I'll tell you, there was another woman who I knew in New York. She's Black, her husband's Black. And she said that she was very concerned about this trans ideology at our school, where they were asking our boys whether they were concerned, whether they were sure they were boys every week. Mm-hmm. And she said at home, she and her husband were counter programming, like, can you imagine grandpa showing up in a dress? Like they were doing some mild mocking of it, so that their boys understood this is absurd and not an available option for you.
We have got to understand that we don't have to accept everything. Not everything we have to accept. And right now, we understand the push, because if you disagree with something, if you disagree, you're called racist or homophobic or transphobic or whatever. And again, man, we have got to be okay with those labels, because again, man, people are going to call you that. They're going to, if you reject what you're being told, if you reject what they're telling you, they're going to call you that. But the thing is, man, we have got to get to a point to where we don't accept everything, because not everything is worthy of acceptance. It's not. Again, we know that a man is not a woman is not a man. We know that. Everyone knows that. But again, nowadays you have to accept the sick. You have to accept sickness, and you have to pretend that is health. That's not health. Again, that is sickness. You have to accept, again, grown men with thongs dancing on stripper poles in front of kids. No, you don't. That is perversion. That is wrong. That is totally wrong. And again, man, we don't have to accept everything. We don't. And I think people have got to get to a place to where they're okay with being called whatever names. Be called whatever. Man, it shouldn't matter. And in the beginning, you're going to be called that again. But we don't need to accept things. Again, we understand that if we eat, nothing but sugar all day, man, eventually we're going to probably get fat and die. Again, we're going to have all kinds of health problems from eating nothing but sugar all day and drinking Cokes. Again, we're going to get sick. You have to have something more sustainable than sugar. So again, we have to understand that we are just like our body. Our culture, our society cannot grow on nothing but smut. We can't. We will implode, which we're doing, by the way. We will collapse on ourselves. We will. So the thing is, we have to understand that we have to be discriminating. We have to discriminate. We do. We have to say, hey, I don't want this in here. I don't want this. I don't want this idea. I don't want this. It's not going to work, and I reject it. And again, that doesn't mean hate other people or whatever. That just means reject what you don't like. Reject what's not going to work. Reject evil. Because that really is what's going on. But hey guys, if you would, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below.
You son of a